Cancer took our future, so we built a new one day, one laugh, one first snow at a time. I was folding laundry when the doctor called. That's how normal the moment was, how stupidly mundane. There was a half-damp sock in my hand, still warm from the dryer, when I heard my fiancé say my name from the other room. Not like he usually says it, with that casual lilt or teasing tone. No, this time it was flat. Like a button had been pressed inside him, draining out everything warm. I walked in and found him sitting on the edge of the bed, phone still clutched in his hand, eyes locked on nothing. "What?" I asked. And I still remember how I said it, half laughing, like I already knew something was wrong but was hoping if I smiled, the universe might change its mind. He looked up at me, and I swear, I felt the shift in the air. Like gravity doubled. Like all the light in the room had been sucked into his pupils. He opened his mouth, closed it, then finally said, "It's cancer." 3 words. I've replayed them 100 times since. I sat down on the floor, just folded, legs giving out like someone had cut the strings. "What do you mean?" "It's colon cancer," he said. His voice was steady, too steady. "Stage 4. They said it's spread. Liver, maybe more." I couldn't breathe. Not in the dramatic, metaphorical way. I mean, I physically couldn't get air into my lungs. I just sat there, hands pressing into the carpet as if feeling something solid might anchor me back to earth. This man, my person, the one who always joked that he'd live forever out of sheer spite, was staring down a death sentence, and I didn't even know what to say. I think I asked how. Or why. Or when. I'm not even sure it came out as a full question. The words just fell out like broken teeth. He told me the doctor said 6 months without treatment. Maybe 2.5 years with chemo. A gamble. No cure. Just time borrowed and conditional. I should have pushed for more tests, he said, like it was his fault. Like he had somehow failed to catch his own execution sneaking up on him. I wanted to scream. Not at him, but at the sky. At the system. At whatever random sequence of cells had decided to turn against the most careful, cautious person I knew. Instead, I reached out and touched his knee. He looked down at my hand like it belonged to someone else. I said, "We'll figure this out," and I meant it even though I didn't believe it. Not yet. That night, I lay in bed with my eyes wide open while he slept beside me, the curve of his back rising and falling with each breath. I counted them, like some dumb instinct told me if I could just keep count, I could keep him here. 27. 28. 29. He shifted in his sleep, and I nearly broke. Because even that small sound, the rustle of his shirt against the sheets, felt like it was ticking down a clock I didn't know we'd started. I tried to imagine life 2 years from now. 3. But my brain wouldn't go there. It stopped cold. Everything beyond this moment felt like static. The future used to be this open sky, right? Full of possibilities. Now it felt like a room with the walls closing in, slow but certain. And then came the guilt. Not over the cancer, not yet, but over the thoughts that followed. Because deep inside me, in the part of me I don't like looking at, I felt something worse than fear. I felt envy. I hated myself for it. But I couldn't deny it either. It was like this tiny, poisonous thought crawling around in my chest, whispering, "Why not me? Why him, with his quiet steadiness and terrible jokes and the way he still leaves encouraging notes in my lunch like we're in high school? Why not me, the one who's always been kind of afraid to live big anyway?" I wanted to grab the thought and shove it down into the dark, but it kept pushing up through the cracks. And the more I tried to make it disappear, the more it twisted itself into something even uglier. Because then I started thinking maybe I wasn't strong enough. Maybe I wouldn't have handled this news with half the grace he had. Maybe I'm the one who would have crumbled immediately. And that realization made me feel like I didn't deserve to be here, next to him, pretending I could carry this burden with him when I already felt like I was sinking. I remember whispering to myself in the dark, "You don't get to fall apart yet." Like I could trick myself into being brave if I said it enough times. But my hands wouldn't stop shaking. The next morning, he made coffee like nothing had changed. I watched him from the doorway, pouring cream into both mugs, his first, then mine, just how I like it. The spoon clinked against the ceramic like it always did. Normal. Routine. Almost cruel in how ordinary it all felt. "Morning," he said, sliding my cup across the counter. I took it. My hands were steadier than last night, but barely. "Did you sleep?" He nodded. "A little." "You?" I didn't answer. Just sipped and stared out the kitchen window like the trees held answers. We didn't talk about cancer. Not directly. Not yet. We talked around it, about needing to tell our parents, about getting a second opinion, about treatment options. Clinical, distant, manageable. I kept waiting for him to break down, to fall apart so I could gather the pieces. But he never did. He stayed calm, steady. Like this was just another item on his to-do list. And that's when it hit me. I might be the one who crumbles first. After breakfast, he went to lie down again. The fatigue was already showing. He moved slower, like he'd aged overnight. I stood in the hallway, listening to the silence between us, and it felt like standing at the edge of a cliff. I picked up my phone, stared at my therapist's number. I didn't call. Instead, I opened a notes app and typed one line. What if I'm not enough for him through this? It felt like betrayal just to write it. But it was true. And here's the real truth I haven't said out loud yet. Not even to myself until right now. I'm scared that if I fall apart in front of him, it'll make it worse. That he'll see the fear in my eyes and think, I'm not just dying. I'm ruining her too. So I have to choose. Do I show up with my whole messy, grieving heart and risk him carrying my pain too? Or do I build a wall, fake the brave face, and pray that it helps him sleep at night? It's not a fair question. But life stopped being fair the moment the doctor said, Stage 4. And that's where I'm stuck now. On the edge of that question. One that doesn't have a clean answer. I told him I was fine. He asked while brushing his teeth, mouth full of foam, half a laugh in his voice. You okay? And I said, yeah, just like that. No pause, no crack, smooth as silk. Then I turned and walked out of the bathroom before he could read the truth on my face. That lie bought me 5 more minutes of pretending. In those 5 minutes, I took out the trash. I wiped down the kitchen counters. I stared at my own reflection in the microwave door and wondered who the hell I was anymore. Then I sat in the car and screamed into the steering wheel. No sound. Just one of those deep, raw, silent sobs that stretches your ribs and leaves you gasping for air. Because the truth? I am not okay. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to watch the person I love more than anything in this world slowly fade in front of me. And worst of all, I feel selfish. Selfish because I'm thinking about what I'm losing. About the wedding we probably won't have. The house we were going to buy next year. The dumb dog names we argued about on lazy Sunday mornings. And yeah, part of me keeps whispering, what about me? What happens to me when he's gone? That thought feels like a betrayal every time it shows up. But it keeps showing up anyway. And I keep lying to him. Every day. With every fake smile and, I'm fine. Because I don't want to see the grief in his eyes mirrored in mine. We were supposed to have dinner with his sister that night. Nothing fancy. Just takeout from that Thai place we both liked. Eaten off mismatched plates in their backyard while the dog begged for scraps, and we talked about nothing important. Normal stuff. The kind of night I used to take for granted. But that was before the diagnosis. Before words like chemo and palliative hung in the air like a storm cloud nobody could acknowledge out loud. Still, we went. Or at least he did. I almost backed out 3 times before we left the driveway. First when I couldn't get my eyeliner right. Then again when I spilled water on my jeans and used it as an excuse to change. Finally, standing at the door, keys in hand, heart racing like I was walking into a courtroom instead of a dinner. He didn't notice. Or if he did, he didn't say anything. His sister hugged us when we got there. All sunshine and optimism. She had a Pinterest board full of healing meals and a stack of printouts from alternative therapy blogs. Her way of coping was drowning in research. I admired it in theory. In reality, it made me want to throw her quinoa salad into the street. They talked, laughed even. For a moment, he looked like himself again. Shoulders loose, eyes soft, making dumb puns about spring rolls. And I just sat there, chewing, nodding, pretending I was present. But inside I was spiraling, because watching him joke with his sister made it real, like we were rehearsing goodbyes in slow motion. I caught myself staring at his hands, the way they wrapped around his glass, the tiny freckle on his index finger, the cut on his knuckle from where he banged it on the garage door last week. I didn't want to forget a single inch of him. Then mid-laugh he coughed, just once, dry. But it silenced the whole table. His sister froze. I blinked hard. You okay? She asked gently. He waved it off. Yeah, just went down the wrong pipe. We all smiled, nodded, laughed a little, and I excused myself to the bathroom where I sat on the toilet lid, sobbing into a hand towel I didn't know was embroidered with her wedding date. When I came back, the food was packed up, and the moment had passed. But something inside me had cracked open, and it wasn't going to close. It happened over toothpaste. He'd been feeling off all day, low energy, a little feverish, the kind of thing we both pretended wasn't a big deal. He brushed it off like it was just allergies. I let him. I always let him. But that night, when I handed him a new tube of toothpaste and he said, "Thanks, babe," like everything was normal, I just snapped. "Do you really think this is normal?" I said. He paused, the tube halfway to the sink. "What? This? All of this? Pretending like it's fine. Like we're fine." He blinked, caught off guard. "I didn't say we were fine." "No, you didn't," I said. "But you're acting like if we just keep brushing our teeth and paying bills and laughing at dumb TV shows, maybe none of it's real." He turned toward me slowly. "What do you want me to do, huh? Cry? Scream? Punch a wall? Would that make it easier for you?" That one hit me like a slap. "Easier for me? Are you serious right now?" He didn't flinch, just stared at me, breathing heavy. "You think you're the only one scared? You think I don't wake up every single day wondering how much time I've got left?" Silence. "I'm dying," he said. And it wasn't loud, but it landed like thunder. "And I'm trying to protect you. So yeah, I laugh. I joke. I brush my teeth. Because if I stop and really let it in, it'll destroy me. And if I break, what happens to you?" That shut me up. I couldn't speak. I just stood there, fists clenched, shaking with this mix of rage and heartbreak I didn't know what to do with. He walked past me and shut the bathroom door. Not loud, not dramatic, just done. I sat on the floor outside that door for a long time, knees pulled to my chest, waiting for the courage to knock. Because in that moment, I realized something awful. He wasn't the only one dying. Our future was too. The next morning, he made pancakes. I don't know why that broke me, but it did. He stood there in his flannel pajama pants, flipping pancakes like we hadn't just screamed truths at each other through a bathroom door. Like he hadn't said the word dying out loud, with that impossible steadiness in his voice. The house smelled like butter and maple syrup, and I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the frying pan out the window and tell him he didn't have to pretend. That it was okay to be scared. That I was scared. Instead, I sat down at the table and poured coffee like I was in a movie where someone else was playing me. He placed a plate in front of me, smiled like yesterday never happened, and said, "I thought we could do something today. Just us." "Like what?" "Something dumb. Mini golf. Or ice cream for lunch. Whatever." I stared at him, confused. "Why?" His smile faltered just a little. "Because we still have time. And I don't want to waste it." I don't know what kind of emotion that was, grief maybe, or guilt, or love so sharp it hurt to hold. But I nodded. And just like that, without saying it, I made a promise. That I'd be there. That I wouldn't hide. That even if I was unraveling, I'd show up every single day, no matter how hard or awkward or terrifying. We played mini golf. He won, of course. He always does. We got ice cream. Mine melted too fast because I kept crying into it, pretending the wind was too strong. He didn't call me out on it. He just held my hand. It started with a list. He called it the Not a Bucket List. Scrawled it on the back of an old receipt with a dull pencil while we waited for our takeout. I didn't know what he was doing at first. He was just scribbling, looking out the window like he was watching memories he hadn't lived yet. I leaned over and saw it. Make her laugh until she snorts. See the Grand Canyon. Leave something behind that matters. Tell the truth even when it's ugly. Be there the day the first snow falls. The last one wrecked me. "Snow?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. He didn't look at me, just kept writing. I've never watched the first snow of the season. I've always been working or inside or asleep. This year I want to see it. But what if it doesn't snow before? He put the pencil down. Then we'll fake it. And that was the moment everything shifted. Because he wasn't just dying. He was still living, making plans, giving moments meaning even when the time itself was limited. So I made a plan too. I booked the Grand Canyon trip before we got home. I called in every favor I had at work. Moved meetings. Rearranged deadlines. Didn't ask. Just did it. I even reached out to his childhood friend he hadn't talked to in a decade and just said, he's sick. Come see him if you can. That night, I lay awake and stared at the ceiling. Not crying. Not panicking. Just choosing. Choosing to meet him where he was. In the messy, fleeting middle between hope and reality. Between goodbye and not yet. It wasn't supposed to snow. It was early October. The forecast said rain. But when I opened the curtains that morning, the world outside had turned white, soft, silent flakes drifting down in lazy spirals like the sky had changed its mind just for us. I stared out the window for a full minute before I whispered, "You need to wake up." He blinked at me, confused. "What?" "It's snowing," I said. "It's the first snow." He sat up too fast, winced, but didn't complain. We wrapped him in his thickest sweater, layered blankets over his legs, and wheeled his chair out to the back porch. And there it was. The whole backyard transformed. Trees dusted in white, the air cold enough to bite, but not mean. The dog barked once, then immediately started eating the snow like it was cotton candy. He laughed. God, I hadn't heard that laugh in weeks. Not a polite chuckle or a tired smile, but a full laugh. Deep. Real. "Guess we don't have to fake it after all," he said, tilting his face to the sky. I sat beside him and held his hand. We didn't talk much. Didn't need to. Because somehow, against all odds, the universe had given us that one tiny miracle. A single moment where everything slowed down. Where the world was soft and quiet and kind. And as the flakes landed in his hair, melting faster than they fell, I realized something. I wasn't scared anymore. Still heartbroken, still aching, but not scared. Because I knew then that I could carry him even after he was gone. Not just the grief, but the love too. The jokes. The lists. The snow. That evening, after we went inside, he fell asleep in the recliner, the dog curled at his feet. And I sat beside him, tracing the lines of his hand, whispering stories about the things we hadn't done yet, the ones we might still do, and the ones we'd already made unforgettable. The house was quiet. Outside, the snow kept falling. Update, it's been 3 months. The treatments are rough. He sleeps more now. Some days, we don't get out of bed at all. And that's okay. The Grand Canyon is off the table. But I bought a projector and filled the living room with red rock photos and desert wind sounds. He smiled and said it felt close enough. Some days, he talks about dying like it's just another trip. "I'll go ahead," he said once. "You'll catch up later." I still cry in the shower. Still call my therapist. Still fall apart sometimes. But when I sit beside him, I don't lie anymore. I just hold his hand and say, "I'm here." He looked at me last night and said, "This wasn't the life I planned. But I'm glad it was with you." And I said the only thing that felt true. "Me too." Then I kissed his forehead and sat with him until he fell asleep. The snow melted the next day. But I remember every flake. Every single one. Hey everyone again. I also wanted to thank each and every one of you for helping me hit 50 subscribers. Your support means the world to me. Here's to many more milestones together.